All right, folks, welcome back. Ever found yourself like completely mesmerized by some awesome design element on a website? You know what I mean? Like a cool animation or a button that's just perfectly crafted, and you're like, man, I wish I could just yoink that right into my own project. You know, skip all that tedious CSS coding.
Yeah, totally. I've definitely been there. I mean, who hasn't, right? It's like you see this amazing thing and you're already thinking about all the time you're going to spend trying to recreate it pixel by pixel.
Oh, core productivity killer. Huh?
Right? You're
But
right.
what if I told you there might be a way to like totally shortcut that whole process?
Okay, now you've got my attention.
We've been looking into this tool called DivMagic, and it claims to do just that, capture and convert web elements from any website into these like reusable components.
DivMagic, huh? Sounds kind of like magic almost. But is it legit? Like, does it really live up to the hype?
That's what we're going to find out today. We're diving deep into all the info we could find about DivMagic to see if it's a real deal or just some smoke and mirrors.
Okay, I'm game. Let's break this down. What's the first trick up DivMagic's sleeve?
Well, the core promise is this effortless web element conversion. I mean, they're saying you can literally grab anything you see on a web page, a button, a whole section, an image with some fancy text, anything, and turn it into a reusable component.
Okay, that's a pretty bold claim. But even if it works, what good is a component if you can't use it in your project?
Right. That's where it gets really interesting. This thing can output to a whole bunch of formats. We're talking basic HTML and CSS, of
Well,
course,
that's essential.
but also React as JSX, for anyone working with React. And get this, it even handles Tailwind CSS.
Whoa, hold up. You're saying if I find like a killer navigation bar built with, regular HTML and CSS, I can snag that thing and have the React code ready to go in my app just like that?
That's what they're saying. Yeah. And it's not just about like the basic structure either. It captures all the little style details too, padding, margins, colors, the whole shebang.
Now that's impressive. But let's be real. Some websites out there are like Fort Knox when it comes to their code. Especially when you're dealing with iframes. It's like trying to peek behind the curtain of the internet.
Ugh, iframes don't even get me started. But apparently DivMagic is designed to work even through those pesky iframes.
Okay, now that's a game changer right there.
Totally. Now, there's also this thing called DivMagic Studio. Have you heard of that?
DivMagic Studio rings a bell, but I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
So it's this integrated platform where all the cool stuff you capture with DivMagic, like all your web elements, get stored.
Yeah.
But it's way more than just storage. It's like a visual playground where you can actually see and tinker with all those components before you unleash them into your project.
So it's like a staging area for web elements. That's smart. It gives you a chance to really fine-tune everything and make sure it's pixel perfect before committing to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What if you're not ready for the whole component thing?
Yeah.
What if you just need the raw HTML and CSS code of a specific element? Like you just want to grab a snippet and run.
Yeah, good question. Does DivMagic cater to the code minimalists too?
Oh, yeah. They've got you covered. They say you can get the HTML and CSS for any element with a single click. So if you prefer to do things the old-fashioned way,
Yeah.
Manually tweak the code or use it in a simpler context, you got that option too.
Okay, that's good to know. Flexibility is key. But speaking of options, the material we saw mentioned something about duplicating entire web pages. Is that even possible? It sounds kind of wild.
I know, right? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. If you can grab individual elements in their code, why not just systematically copy every part of the page and put it back together like a digital puzzle? Obviously, it would depend on how complex the website is, but still the potential is there.
It's a bold idea for sure. But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got to make sure these elements we're snagging actually look good on all devices, right? Responsive design is kind of crucial these days.
Absolutely. And that's another thing DivMagic seems to handle really well. It has built-in support for media queries.
Media queries. Okay, so remind me again how those work.
Basically, they're like rules that tell web elements how to behave at different screen sizes. So a button might be one size on a desktop, but then adjust automatically to be bigger and easier to tap on a phone.
Right. So DivMagic is smart enough to grab those media queries along with the element itself.
Exactly. It brings over all those responsive rules, so you don't have to go hunting for them and copy them over manually. Talk about a time saver.
Okay, that's pretty slick. But there was one feature that really blew my mind. The CSS to Tailwind CSS conversion.
Oh, yeah, that one's a doozy.
Seriously, Tailwind is awesome. It can really speed up development. But migrating from regular CSS to Tailwind can be A nightmare.
It's like translating an entire novel into a different language.
Right.
But DivMagic claims it can do this conversion automatically.
Wait, what? So if I find a component that's styled with, plain old CSS DivMagic, can just spit out the equivalent Tailwind code.
That's the idea. It's like magic, really.
That could be huge for teams that want to switch to Tailwind without rebuilding everything from scratch.
No kidding. Now let's talk more about DivMagic Studio. We touched on it earlier, but it's got other pretty cool features beyond just editing and saving.
Oh yeah, fill me in.
So you can actually convert any component into JSX right there in DivMagic Studio, even if the original website wasn't built with React.
So you can take a static design you found online and boom, turn it into a dynamic React component.
Pretty much. And then there's a DevTools integration.
Ah, yeah, that sounds super convenient.
Right. Imagine you're inspecting an element in your browser's developer tools, and you're like, okay, I need this in my project. Well, with DivMagic, you can just capture and convert it right there without having to switch back and forth between different tools.
Okay, that's slick. It's all about that seamless workflow. So who exactly is DivMagic targeting with all this awesomeness?
No, no.
Who are the lucky folks who would benefit the most from this tool?
Well, based on what we've seen, it seems like they're aiming at three main groups: developers, web design agencies, and of course, web designers themselves.
Makes sense. Developers are always looking for ways to build stuff faster. Agencies need to be efficient and consistent across all their projects. And designers, well, they're the ones who are constantly finding inspiration and trying to translate that into actual websites.
Exactly. So it's like a win-win-win for everyone involved. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How much does this magic wand cost?
All right, let's talk money.
Well, they're offering lifetime access for a one-time payment. The regular price is $300, but right now there's a discount. You can get it for just $49.
$49 for lifetime access. Not bad at all.
And that's for a single code. But they also have multi-license options for teams. $98 gets you 2 codes, 1 for the admin and 2 for users. And $147 gets you 3 codes, 1 for the admin and 3 for users.
Okay, so they've got options for solopreneurs and agencies alike. What about compatibility? What browsers can you use this thing with?
It works with Google Chrome and other Chromium-based browsers like Brave and Edge. And it also works with Firefox. Oh, and you can use it on unlimited devices.
Unlimited devices? Okay, cool. That's good to know. But there's always that little voice in the back of your head. You know, the one that's like, what if it's not all it's cracked up to be?
I hear you. But they do offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. So you've got 2 whole months to really put it through its paces and see if it fits your workflow.
Okay, that's reassuring. It takes some of the risk out of trying something new.
Yeah.
Now, what about the future? Is this a tool that's going to be constantly updated and supported?
That's a great question. And from what we gathered from their Q&A, it seems like they're definitely committed to ongoing development. They just launched Gutenberg integration for WordPress users.
Gutenberg integration. Oh, okay, that's huge for WordPress folks. What else is on the horizon?
Well, they're also focusing a lot on adding AI features to both the extension and DivMagic Studio.
AI. Interesting. What kind of AI stuff are we talking about here?
They didn't get into specifics, but you can imagine things like more intelligent code conversion, or maybe AI-powered suggestions for styling and optimizing the elements you capture.
Okay, that's pretty exciting. It sounds like they're not just resting on their laurels, they're actively trying to push the boundaries of what this tool can do. What about DivMagic Studio itself? Any big plans for that?
Oh yeah, they have some ambitious goals for DivMagic Studio. They want to turn it into a full-fledged online platform where you can actually host entire websites.
Now, hold on. So DivMagic Studio could become like a website builder.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
And they're saying that this future functionality will be included in the lifetime deal.
Wow. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, but it's important to note that the full hosting capability isn't ready yet. It's still under development.
Okay, so something to look forward to. Now, one last question before we wrap up. Is DivMagic platform specific? Like, can you only use it with certain types of websites?
Nope. They've confirmed that you can use it to grab designs from any platform, Shopify, WordPress, you name it, and then you can convert those designs for use in other environments. So it's pretty versatile.
Okay, that's great. Cross-platform compatibility is a must-have these days. And what about native integrations with other popular tools like Bricks Builder for WordPress?
They're planning to add that in the future. Right now, their focus is on the Gutenberg integration, but Bricks is definitely on their roadmap.
So they're listening to their users and expanding the tool's capabilities. That's a good sign. Now, for anyone out there who's intrigued but still needs a little more convincing, is there a way to try DivMagic before committing?
Absolutely. They have a demo on their website where you can test out some of the core features. Plus, they have video tutorials and showcases that show you how it works in real-world scenarios.
Okay, cool. So there are plenty of ways to kick the tires before you buy. All right, so let's bring it all home. What are the key takeaways from our deep dive into DivMagic?
Well, it definitely seems like a powerful tool for streamlining web development and design. The whole idea of capturing and converting web elements into different formats is a huge time saver. And that CSS to Tailwind conversion is a game changer, especially for anyone looking to adopt Tailwind.
Totally. Plus, the responsive design support and the flexibility of DivMagic Studio are major bonuses.
And let's not forget about the lifetime access offer and the money-back guarantee.
Right. It's a pretty compelling package overall, but I think the bigger question is how much time are you currently wasting on recreating web designs? And could a tool like DivMagic free you up to focus on more important things?
That's the million-dollar question right there. Well, folks, it's been a blast exploring DivMagic with you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time, happy coding and designing.